Rocky and His Friends was an instant hit in 1959, and it appealed to both the young and the young at heart. But the Kremlin believed the show was anti-Soviet propaganda, and it was considered too shocking for viewers in the Great White North. So why was Rocky and Bullwinkle banned in Canada? What episode was banned, and why was the show cancelled? Welcome to Do You Remember? I am Nostalgic Nick.
Bullwinkle, he's a dummy!
Please, Rock, you were speaking of our host.
Rocky J. Squirrel and his best friend Bullwinkle J. Moose hosted a variety show that bookended several popular supporting features, including Aesop and Son, Fractured Fairy Tales, and Peabody's Improbable History. But the Canadian authorities weren't amused by the Dudley Do-Right features, and the show's producers were even threatened with jail time in America after one particular episode.
Bullwinkle, what are you doing here?
Far as I can tell, I'm freezing to death.
You won't want to miss this curious chronicle of cartoon controversy. But before we pull this video out of our hat, please hit the thumbs up icon to show us some support, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new video. Now let's get to it. Welcome to Frostbite Falls. In 1947, childhood friends Jay Ward and Alex Anderson pitched an animated variety show to NBC called The Comic Strips of Television. The show featured characters including Crusader Rabbit, Detective Hamhock Bones, and Dudley Do-Right, a bumbling but well-meaning Mountie. NBC passed on the pilot, but greenlit Crusader Rabbit, which aired from 1950 to 52. After a leadership shakeup at NBC and a lengthy courtroom battle, Ward and Anderson lost the rights to Crusader Rabbit and returned to their old careers. When Jay Ward decided to once again return to animation in 1958, his old pal Alex had moved on to a successful career in advertising, so Ward teamed up with veteran writer Bill Scott and began developing a previously unsold show, which was originally entitled Frostbite Falls Review.
Your conscience.
No, I'm Bullwinkle.
Illustrated Radio. Legendary animator Chuck Jones described Rocky and His Friends as a great example of illustrated radio. The show was produced on a shoestring budget and depended on narration to carry it past its simplistic animation. Loyal R&B fans say the low-quality animation was a big part of the show's charm, and early seasons were rife with continuity problems. Bullwinkle's antlers frequently looked different.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, who are you?
I'm Bullwinkle.
Not you!
I'm still Bullwinkle.
Snidely Whiplash's mustache comes and goes, and some characters even have limbs go missing between shots. Red Skelton claimed the Bullwinkle voice was an unauthorized use of his character Klimka Diddlehopper's voice, but Bullwinkle denied the allegations on the show, using his most deliberate imitation of Klim's voice. Durwood Kirby's agents threatened to sue over a storyline featuring the Kerwood Derby, a bowler hat that made its wearer more intelligent. The series publicist Howard Brandy said, quote, Jay sent him back a letter saying, yeah, please sue us. We need the publicity. So of course we never heard from them again. The Moose vs. the Mouse. Rocky and His Friends was broadcast in black and white on ABC. But the Bullwinkle show was broadcast in color when it moved to primetime on NBC. The new show featured a Bullwinkle hand puppet who frequently put his hoof in his mouth. The puppet mocked Walt Disney, who was encouraging viewers to buy expensive color television so they could properly enjoy Walt Disney's wonderful world of color. So Bullwinkle told them instead to think of all the nasty things Walt Disney had said about their old black and white TVs. Now then, he said, don't you see red? The network also received over 20,000 angry letters after children followed Bullwinkle's advice to tear their knobs off their television sets, so that they would not miss next week's show.
17.3% of you kicked in the front of your sets. Shame. Well, this is your last warning.
Bullwinkle's response was, quote, remember kids, a couple of weeks ago, we asked you to pull the knobs off your sets. Well, you can put them back on now. Use glue, make it stick. The campaign for Moosylvania statehood. Jay Ward often staged elaborate publicity stunts to promote the new primetime show. including one 1961 incident that nearly caused a riot. Ward sent out 500 invitations to a Bullwinkle Philharmonic Orchestra performance on Sunset Boulevard, and legendary blonde bombshell Jane Mansfield unveiled a revolving Bullwinkle statue. The LAPD struggled to hold the crowd back after more than 5,000 people showed up. In 1962, Ward leased a small island in northern Minnesota and began campaigning to make Moosylvania our 52nd state. Ward and publicist Howard Brandy embarked on a cross-country promotional tour scheduled to end in Washington, D.C., but their visit was ill-timed and the entourage was turned away when they arrived at the White House.
Who are all those people, Rocky?
Lots of them are Washington senators, Bullwinkle.
Where's their baseball suits?
Brandy was dressed in a Dudley Do-Right costume at the time and said the incident was very tense. He said, quote, "Ward says he wants to see President Kennedy, and the guards tell them to get out of there and start to unbuckle their guns." So they got into the Associated Press office with their publicity pictures and discovered that it was the day of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they were the only people who didn't know. Who is Dudley Do-Right's archenemy? Rocky and His Friends was banned in the USSR after the Politburo classified the show as propaganda. The show was also banned by Canadian broadcasting executives who believed Dudley Do-Right would be offensive to Canadians and undermine the authority of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. But who else has the courage to face the evil Snidely Whiplash? Snidely was inspired by archetypical silent film villains, and he's as treacherous as Dudley is honest and forthright. Whiplash enjoys tying damsel in distress Nell Fenwick to railroad tracks.
I shall hate to call you son, Whiplash. Perhaps I can elongate it a bit and make it come out all right.
Call me anything you like as long as Nell is mine.
For unexplained reasons, and one dastardly deed even had real-world consequences. Which Dudley Do-Right episode was banned? In Stokey the Bear, Snidely hypnotizes the title character, who proceeds to burn down the entire forest.
What seems to be the trouble here? It's Stokey the bear. He's gone ape.
We also discovered that it was Stokey and not Mrs. O'Leary's cow that started the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. The episode only aired once and was never seen again after the U.S. Forest Service claimed the character was a ripoff of Smokey Bear. They threatened a copyright infringement lawsuit. So the show's sponsors demanded that all film prints of the episode be destroyed. Furthermore, under the terms of the Smokey Bear Act of 1952, anyone working for the network or involved with the show potentially faced a fine and up to 6 months of jail time. Now, Jay Ward rarely succumbed to the pressures from sponsors, but he did agree to pull the episode to avoid further trouble. The segment was withheld from syndication for 44 years, until Sony Classics determined enough time had passed and the episode was re-released on home video in 2005. Dudley on the Silver Screen. A live-action version of Dudley Do-Right was released in 1999 to commemorate the 40th anniversary of The Bullwinkle Show. Jim Carrey strongly considered playing the character to honor his Canadian heritage, but he had already committed to playing Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon. Brendan Fraser got the gig after Jim Carrey passed.
Dudley Do-Right of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
With Sarah Jessica Parker playing Nell. Alfred Molina waxed up his handlebar mustache for the role of Snidely Whiplash. And Monty Python alum Eric Idle also appears in the film. Unfortunately, however, the film was a critical flop and a box office bomb. Its $10 million box office returns failed to recoup the film's $22 million budget.
That's antihistamine money, you know.
Antihistamine money.
It's not to be sneezed at.
And the film currently has a tomato meter rating of 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Why was Rocky and Bullwinkle canceled? When Rocky and His Friends aired on ABC in 1959 after American Bandstand, it seriously dominated the daytime ratings. But after moving to NBC, The Moose and the Squirrel were no match for Lassie. NBC rescheduled the show for late Sunday afternoons and early Saturday afternoons during its final season, but they canceled the show in 1964.
You know what A-bomb means?
Certainly, A-bomb is what some people call our program.
ABC wasn't interested in picking the series back up, but they aired reruns until the show entered syndication in 1973, and it was rebooted in 2018 for Amazon Prime. The quality of animation has improved exponentially since the 1960s, but the crudely animated Rocky and His Friends still holds a big place in viewers' hearts. In 2013, TV Guide viewers ranked Rocky and His Friends as the 6th greatest television cartoon of all time. What do you think? Is 6 appropriate? Do you think it needs to be closer to number 1? What is your favorite cartoon of all time? What was your favorite Bullwinkle episode? And finally, would you visit Moosylvania if it was a state? Get in the comments and tell us all things Rocky and also Bullwinkle. If you enjoyed our deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up to help it circulate. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss a throwback like this. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, I want to thank you very much for watching.